Holy Grail.
Hey there, football fans. My name is Derek P. Fields, and welcome to the Gridiron Blitz, where we talk all things Detroit Lions. Well, you know what, guys? We're going to get into it. We are going to get into this backup QB situation with Matthew Stafford. Now, you might have seen Luke G's video, his podcast video. He addresses my claim that Bob Quinn was a failure in getting a reliable backup for Matthew Stafford. And I left my comment in the comment section. And also, I'm sure by now, as this video has come out Wednesday and we had the round table last night, we probably got into it in very, very specific, very, very detailed detail. Now, here are my thoughts away from the fellas. My thinking is this. The Bleacher Report has Tom Savage as the 28th ranked backup quarterback. What do you think you're going to win with Tom Savage? Now, Luke only quoted part of my quote and not the entirety of the quote. The rest of the quote went like this. Why didn't they get Teddy Bridgewater? Why didn't they get Case Keenum? Why didn't they get someone they could have gone after like Tyrod Taylor? I'm not saying that there are 31 teams that have succeeded and one team that has not. Luke was very keen to point out that there were 7 other substantial, sustainable backup quarterbacks. Bob Quinn has drafted, he's had 4 drafts with the Detroit Lions and 4 offseasons. What has he done as far as a backup quarterback for Matthew Stafford? Well, he drafted a guy in the 6th round named Jake Ruddock. How did that turn out? A couple practice squads and a cut later. He drafted a dude named Brad Kaya. How did that turn out? A couple practice squads and a cut later. So now the past 2 years, there've been no suitable backup, no sustainable backup to back up Matthew Stafford. Everybody wants to blame the Detroit Lions organization and say, hey, Matthew Stafford was forced to play with a broken back. I'm here to tell you that didn't happen. Am I an insider? No, not at all. Do I have somebody that works for the Lions? No, I do not. But how do I know that is not what happened? Well, because it's a real educated guess. First of all, this is a grown man. You think that he's going to not run to the NFLPA and tell them, hey, my franchise is having me play with a broken back? You also think a man who has had 8 years of consecutive starts is going to let a little old thing like a broken back keep him out? Now, I get what you're saying, Derek. Should have said, Matthew Stafford, you are our franchise quarterback. You will sit your butt down. You know how your kid, you got to, you know how your kids, you get mad at your kids, you sit. You got to talk through your teeth. Sit your butt. You're going to sit your butt down. That's what you're going to do. You're going to sit your butt down. That's what they should have did. This is their franchise quarterback. They respected him. Just like they respected him to come back after they said, hey, Matt, you can stay away. Your wife just had brain surgery. Dude, chill. Get her together. Come back. He said, no, my wife wants me to be here. I'm going to be here. So Luke G left out a very crucial part of the quote, and that was that Bob Quinn had the opportunity to go get a handful of guys, and he has not. He has drafted 2 guys out of the 6th round that turned out to be duds and flops. The question that I put before Luke G was, hey, if Matthew Stafford goes down, who is to blame? Will you be upset? So Detroit Lions fans, will you be upset if something happens to Matthew Stafford and Tom Savage comes in, the 28th ranked quarterback in the entire National Football League? Now, yeah, there was a lot of guys that were not available for the Detroit Lions. Absolutely. But there were a few pretty decent ones. The Saints was lollygagging around with Teddy Bridgewater. Go get him. Why not go get him? No, we're going to put all our eggs in the Matthew Stafford is an Iron Man basket. So what happens when Matthew Stafford gets his back cracked again? This time he can't get up. Well, our season hangs on Fred Savage. And I hope for your sake that Fred Savage can give you multiple games and maybe even a playoff win. All this stuff that we're talking about the 2019 NFL Detroit Lions season, watch where that goes if something happens to Matthew Stafford. Now, Luke's argument was, Derek, why are you going to pay? It doesn't make any sense to me. Why are you going to pay all this money for a guy to sit on the bench? I'm sure I said this last night. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. It's the same reason you have life insurance, Luke, and people in YouTube land. If something happens to you, then you've got coverage. The Detroit Lions got money to spare. Go get a backup quarterback worth $10 to $12 million that can ensure you 5 or 6 wins if your franchise quarterback goes down. Why do you have life insurance? Because you might die, you might not. But if you do, your family is covered. Because if your franchise quarterback goes down, you don't have to start a GoFundMe page. We got the GoFundMe of quarterbacks, Mr. Tom Fred Savage. Now you've heard it from me as well, that this is what the rest of that quote was. Bob Quinn has had opportunities in his 4 years to go get a quarterback that is better than Tom Fred Savage. No more apparent than this year. Tyrod Taylor, I would trust him. Case Keenum, I would trust him. Teddy Bridgewater, I would trust him. He was doing his thing before he got cracked in the knee and lost his starting job because he got injured. He was ripping us up, if I remember correctly, with his gloves on looking like Michael Jackson. So, you've heard it from me. You've heard it from Luke. I'm sure you heard it last night. But here we go again. How do you feel if the Lions lose their franchise quarterback in Matthew Stafford, and now you got Tom Fred Savage that you want to go get you a playoff win in that second round playoff berth? Leave it in the comments below. Once again, guys, my name is Derek P. Fields. This is the Gridiron Blitz. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and also hit that notification bell and enable all notifications so you won't miss another video. Derek P. Fields is out.